We're here today with Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein, what did you do?
I got top 8 at the Genesys Invitational at YCS Anaheim.
And what were you playing?
I was playing Artmage. Dude, this deck is amazing. I love it. From the art, from the lore, from just the gameplay, and all the cool characters. This is my favorite deck of all time, I think. It's really, really fun.
And tell us about your prizing. What did you get today?
Oh, I got a, what's this called? It's like a silver, like the Blue Eyes White Dragon necklace. It's so gorgeous. And
It's
a
1
24...
in 5,000?
It was a 5,000, limited 5,000 worldwide individually. It's super cool. It's great pricing.
Amazing.
And a 24 karat gold plate Pot of Greed, which is super sick. And it's got a little Let's Duel on it.
All right, sick. Yeah, let's get to the profile.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, so we're gonna start with main deck first. Pretty standard stuff. 3 Medius, 2 Power Patron, 2 Graffler, 1 Latera. I'm gonna push these up here. 1 Latera, 1 Fine Mail for my monsters, Artmage cards, monsters. So the only argument you can possibly make is if you rather want a 2 Latera or 1 Latera, and it really just depends on like how much of consistency, because one problem that you have is that you constantly have to deal with the fact that these cards on their own are garnets. Because you need to have an Artmage card on field to special summon them, and they don't get their effects on summon.
They are all Sword Rise, yo.
It is all in their effect. If they activate it, then they get the rest of the effect. If you normal summon it, it doesn't get like, oh, I could add a card back. All right, so the hand trap lineup I was running for this event was Fawalos, 3 Fawalos, 2 DD Crow, and 2 Nibiru. So I think decks to beat right now are Tombkeeper, it is Artmage, it is a Mystical Space Typhoon deck, Radiant Typhoon, Generator, stuff like that. And the most important card in against these decks is like Crow and Fawalos. If you activate the effect of Latera, you can Crow their the spell or trap they're going to add back. Usually it's only 1 or 2. If you go Fawalos on a like I would say like Vanquish Soul, sometimes this will completely stop their combo with K9's cards. And then Nibiru is just really good when combined with Fawalos. However, I would replace these cards with Evenly if I could. As the top 8, it was down to the wire, and I had Nibiru instead of an Evenly, and I was really bummed out that it wasn't Evenly. Very important, even though this card can sometimes not really come up in more events, you need to use it because you need to be able to find both spell and trap, field spell, and a starter. Because maybe there is no 1 card starter in this deck. So you'll need to find like Medius plus a spell, field spell plus a spell, yada yada yada. And speaking of the spells, we've got 3 Alteration, 3 field spell, 2 of the Assault, 1 Succession as my Artmage spells. So Alteration is really, really nice for being able to place, to add. I mean, it kind of fixes your hand a lot more than it just places field spell. Field spell is unbelievably good. It's just constantly adding more and more. And then Assault at 2 instead of 3 or 1. I kind of like thought that it's better to open up 1 and just to have it, or you know, you could pitch it, than it is to just go Grappler, set it, and you can't add another one off of like Power Patron if you need to continue with the Artmage combo, because Power Patron has the stipulation that you can't add a Artmage spell or trap that's not already in your grave. This deck has so many locks to it, which is why I'm not running another engine to it, because this field spells lock is really, really tough to deal with, especially in Genesys. The only other deck I can really make an argument with running it with is K9, but because of the point values, you don't get to run a certain card that I've put in here that I think was made the difference of this format. So instead of 3 though of Assault, I decided on 2 because, you know, the more you have Medius, I think the worse it gets. If you open up 2 Medius, it kind of sucks. If you open up Medius plus Assault, I mean, you can at least pitch the Assault. But the best part about Assault is it does protect Acropolis. And then Succession. Now, Succession's interesting because usually you would have this for something like Guardian Chimera in the normal deck. But because Guardian Chimera is 33 and it's really hard to commit to a 33 in the extra deck as like a one of, I didn't use Guardian Chimera, but I use a few different choices instead. Nerva especially is just really good. It's just a put down. So we'll move on to kind of the other spells I want to talk about, and that's Dark Hole, Cyclone, and 2 Book of Moon. So Dark Hole being at 3 is really, really nice. 3 points. And so it does a lot for you. So one really important part of Acropolis is that you also can't call names that are already on your field. So sometimes you might have to Dark Hole your own cards, including their board. But usually the Dark Hole just kind of comes up because a full board wipe for 3 points is really good. It gets rid of a lot of interruptions. Punk especially. The Punk Gold Pride cards, which are being used a little bit with the psychic stuff, is really, really strong, but they put up a lot of monster negates and not much interruption for the spells and traps. And so this is really nice to just get rid of all of them. Cosmic Cyclone, we are in a Tomb Keeper format. If they go Apophysis Serpent in draw phase, you chain Cosmic Cyclone and banish it. If they go Treasures on their turn, you've set a Cosmic, you get rid of it. There's so many different ways to use Cosmic Cyclone. It's just really, really good. Gosh, is there any other, especially like you can also do this with MST, which is really interesting. You can Cosmic their MST for Radiant Typhoon and get rid of that quick play. Finally, Book of Moon. So this is really strange. Book of Moon came up a lot in my games where it's first of all, it's 7 points, which is a bit of a commitment, but I decided to halfway commit on this because they are very, very strong going first and second. Going first, booking a very strong piece is super detrimental, especially for something like Tomb Keeper. So booking a Man with a Mark will stop the protection on Treasures, it'll stop protection on Apophis. If you go Book of Moon after they special summon Apophis the Serpent, you'll set it back in the back row, and even if they have Temple of the Kings, they can't reactivate it because they've already activated it on that turn. This was a bit of a meta call. There are other like Synchro decks and Seize decks that I wanted to hit, but most of the time this was also helped me protect my Power Patron from being negated. Finally, and probably most importantly, 3 Pot of Extravagance. This card is at a 0 point value and is basically draw 2. Again, if you just draw into an Extravagance, you pitch it off a field spell. But the best part about this is that because Artmage needs more like extra cards to constantly get its gears turning, this card being able to fill up like a +1 is so wonderful. And because the extra deck is so small, you can just put in a bunch of targets for something like Ultimate Slayer. And finally, Awakening, which is the pitch for a pop. It could also cause basically Branded Lost, and it's a really, really nice special summon. If you want to play around Nib, you can set it. I mean, hopefully you don't get you can play around Ash, right? But you can set it, special summon on your opponent's turn, and you'll play around Nib. And if you get drolled, if this card's in your hand, you can just set it, special summon one last card, and then pass turn on deck Tauros. Finally, and most importantly, 3 Blackout Laughs. I cannot stress enough how important this card is for this deck. Because of how annoying it is to be pitching cards off of Acropolis, this card becomes substantially better to be able to do combos while not really going completely negative on sending a Artmage spell or trap. If you send Alteration, you can't add it off of Power Patron. If you send like Assault, you can't add it off of Power Patron. And sending a Blackout Laughs makes things so much better because it is an interruption on the opponent's turn. But another really important part of this card is that it is really good in the grind game. Setting an extra Blackout Laughs, activating it, and calling a very important piece on the opponent is super powerful. Like that will shut down entire turns. And then being able to go Blackout Laughs banish to on your turn or on another turn to stop them from activating another effect is really strong. I have gone sets activate on an Apophis player, calling their Apophis the purple, the fusion one, and they've got just their 2 monsters on field. They can't do much about it. And then on my turn or their next turn, I go Man with the Mark. I didn't go to that turn. I just beat them the next turn. So finally, let's talk about extra deck, and this one's pretty easy. We got 3 deck Tauros because we're playing Pot of Extravagance. We're using 3 Nerva. And I wouldn't want to use 3 Nerva. This card is not very good to run any more than 1 of in any other situations. Dectoros is like a 2 of at most in every single situation as well. But here are the cards for Ultimate Slayer, which we'll talk about later. Garura, Mirror Logic Aggregator, a Valon just in case, 2 Wind Ignister Pegasuses, which I believed were a little bit stronger than something like Malong, but I kept it anyways, because you could bounce 1 and then later on bounce another if you had to, or just a card on field. Finally, Secretarian Dragon. This is the card I want to make off of Succession most of the time. It technically can bring back a Latera, put back a Graflare, or put summon Graflare, put back a Latera. It all depends on what you want. However, we also have Dragon Rulers in this format, so shutting down those Xyz monsters are really important. Alright. Finally, the side deck. Side deck. This is a really strange one. We have another DD Crow. I decided to put this in because sometimes the 3 comes up. Being able to banish a trap or being able to banish an Apophis that wants to set is really strong. 3 Skullmeister, because 0 points for a hand trap that can interact with the opponent in the graveyard is really, really important, especially in this format. I went against Memento, and this card was constantly hitting Gaddock. We have 3 Vidos. This card is really being slept on. All of these different decks are using field spells to start everything. Treasures of the Kings, very important. It is not called Temple of the Kings while it's being activated. So you chain Vidos, it will destroy it even if Man with Mark would protect it. Because it has not hit the field, it will be destroyed anyways. Another card, Artmage. If they go discard spell trap, you activate Vidos and destroy their field spell. And I mean, again, Memento Tolican, I use this to destroy the field spell. But I think this card is genuinely really nice. If I could run a little bit more points, these Ultimate Slayers right after would have been Entis. Entis pop the Vidos, get a full board wipe. It's pretty nice for how this deck kind of plays out, and you kind of need that exit sometimes. Finally, we've got Herald of the Abyss and Lost Wind. So Herald of the Abyss was for Dragon Ruler, it was for Purely, it was for Super Quants, because I had a friend who was playing Super Quants. I realized I couldn't out a Towers, and so I needed this to out one. And it came up because I was playing against Dragon Ruler, and we just had to get rid of that big guy. Finally, Lost Wind is just another good trap to send off of Acropolis. This card came up, I think, a couple times to just be able to stop entire turns, honestly. The only problem that this card has is technically it doesn't hit Man with the Mark, and Man with the Mark is one of the most important cards to hit, and sometimes you just can't do much about it. But that should be all she wrote.
What were your matchups today?
My round 1 was Goaty, and he was using a lot of the Alliance Insight cards that were just super cool. Fish and Bids was one of them, and I was like, I can't let him banish 3 from deck, so I banished 2 from hand instead. My second round was up against Odeon, and that deck is so messed up, but I had a wonderful grind sesh with this guy, and it was one of the best back and forths I've ever had, and I was able to come up on top of it. My round 3 was Punk Gold Pride, and game 3 I kind of had full Wallows, and that was enough to really push through anything. I drew into like 3 Dark Holes plus full combo, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. So that went really, really well for me. And the final round was against Memento and
Radiant Memento,
which was
Hello Pack TCG.
Really Hello Pack TCG, and it was really, really interesting because the Radiant cards can draw 2 and then pitch a Memento Fusion, which if you normal summon Anguish that gets hit, you can go Memento Fusion to continue your plays, which is really, really cool. That innovation is wonderful. That was the first qualifiers, and then the Invitational was round 1 I did get the bye. Round 2 I went against the same Memento deck again.
Hello Pack TCG.
Hello Pack TCG. I went to round 3, which was Dragon Rulers, and that was tough. Once again, the Herald was just everything I needed for that deck, and it helped me immensely against that matchup. And finally, I think I went against just Oyon again, and unfortunately, that was the one I lost. He opened up wonderful hand, and I opened up like Fine Mel plus Book of Moon, and I was like, ooh, if this evenly was good, it would work. But yeah, I think now looking back at it, I want to put evenly in main and or main or side, just to instead of nib, because I think it just hits a little bit more.
I believe you had 4 points left over, right?
4 points left over. I had around 4 points left over. I think this is 96. I can't quite remember. I'll have to check later on. It could be like 97, 98. But I think this is just a really fun deck, and I really recommend anyone try it out. It's a very low to the ground, but you know, good pilots can take it to a higher ceiling, I think.
All right, Tristan, thank you, and congrats on your top.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.